But yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess all that I have to say about Mr. T-Man. Be careful. Watch what you get into. And yeah, I'll say it one more time. If he wants to come on here, I'll talk to him and I'll listen to him, but be respectful. Because if you start showing any signs, or if, like, say, if Chris is on here or anybody else, if he's disrespectful towards them, then that video will not exist. I will not air it. And it won't break my heart. So be prepared, Chris, if that day happens.
I ain't afraid of no.
In other words, I'm asking you, do you want to be a part of this? I could just see it now, like, yeah, you sit back there going.
Yeah.
Get my coffee. You know what? I'm not going to say hello to everyone because that's just old, right? No one cares about that anymore, right? No, that's rude.
I don't know. People like your intros.
That's right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Shake and Bake. I don't know why I said that. Yeah, that's right. It's me. It's Scott. And of course, it's Chris Webb right here. Look like you were going to. I was watching Kids in the Hall, like, I'm crushing your head. You know,
I was trying to do the shake and bake.
Shake and bake. Oh, wait a minute. I got to go over here to do that. Do that one more time. Oh, shoot.
Oh, no. There it is.
This is already starting off. The sad thing enough is you're drinking something. Wait a minute. You froze up there. Wait a minute. You know what?
Wait, it's the other hand. Other hand.
Okay, let me get back over here. You just stay right there, okay?
Oh, no, it's going to be over here now.
There we go. I figured.
Oh, so it's different on yours?
I can switch the screen around.
Oh, I'm all messed up.
You're good. You're the one that's enjoying. There you go. You're the one that's enjoying a better beverage than I am, even though I love my
mine's flipped. So it looked like I was going over here.
You know what? The hell about this subject? Let's just do goofy camera angle. But yeah, it's obviously Chris is doing fine. He's at home. He's enjoying himself. He got rid of the wife and kids this evening, and I'm like, good, because I got something I wanted to talk to you about, Chris. I'm sure you have heard of this guy named Tony Moran. I always want to say Moran.
Moron? Oh,
yeah, that exactly.
Sorry. I have heard of him a couple times. Yes,
and I'm sure if this video goes viral to at least 30 people, I'm sure 29 of them have heard of him as well. Especially over a lifespan that's going on close to, at least in the, I'm just going to throw it out there, in the Halloween franchise. Coming up on 45 years, technically 45 years now. I'm just thinking of a convention that's coming up, which unfortunately I know I'm not going to be able to make it to, but I'm going to do everything in my power, hoping that we could try to find a way, the community could try to find a way to say, hey, Sean Clark, is there any way that we could get that 45 anniversary on a DVD or something? But I have a feeling it's going to be a new box set. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm sure.
But
did they do that for the 40?
Well, remember the 25? That's what it actually kind of started.
Yeah, 25, I have that over there.
Yeah.
There.
And I know Sean has got his hands full, and he's not going to see this video and all that. And if he does, awesome. But yeah, we got to kind of pressure him to, like, you got to get that on the box set, because something tells me that's the new box set will be what we've had before, including the last trilogy. You know what I mean? Plus the 45, maybe the 25 as well too. Throw it in there. Why not? But anyways, yeah, I guess that's a good way to start off this video, talking about a box set that doesn't exist, but I have a feeling that's in the making.
But I'm sure, given the state of the franchise, we're going to get something that's, you know, a total, like, envelope package deal, considering how we kind of were really concerned with that. Let me just get it.
Yeah, I was going to get mine, but you already beat me to the punch.
This guy.
Yeah, mine's like back there on
But we
the.
get one.
Yeah, mine's like right
this
there.
caliber.
So, exactly.
That would be awesome.
Because I mean, I think every fan out there knows this is going to happen, and it's probably going to cost, I would say, and if they do it in time, they'll do it probably right before Christmas. I know we all want to have like Halloween, but realistically, I want to say right around November. Oh no, crap! They still got to actually. You know what? I'm thinking way too much about it. I say in the year 2025. Wait a minute. Is this 23 or 24?
23.
20, thank you. Oh, dear Lord. I need to start putting something extra in my coffee other than creamer. But okay, 24, I think is what it would be available for the 45 years. Yeah, I don't want to talk about the price because then that would be depressing. So, but anyways, the 45 years, there's been Tony Moran, who has obviously been a part of the original Halloween. He's credited as Michael Myers. He was also credited in Halloween 2 because of the flashback. Well, not the flashback. I'm sorry. You know, I don't need to tell you guys. You know what Halloween 2, how it begins. I'm thinking of HK, the flashback. And yes, he was credited in HK as well. Tony Moran is like a roller coaster that is up and down with news. I'm sure you're probably aware of that.
Oh yeah.
You hear about him. He goes away. Actually, I'm trying to be respectful here because from what I'm about to show you, Chris, which I've already showed you a little bit, I don't want to stoop to his level. I don't want to stoop to certain levels. Mm-hmm. I just want to express what I see and get your thoughts on it, of course, Chris. And I kind of have to go back in time a little bit for some of this to make sense.
Gotcha.
But anyways, Tony Moran, like I said, he's been a part of it for 45 years. He doesn't have the most respect out of the community because let's face it, a couple years ago, the world heard more about how he was just not very pleasant to the fans. I'm sure you've heard about that.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, he's just very disrespectful. He has the same, which to be honest with you, if you've gone to enough of these conventions or watched enough of it on YouTube, even your favorites out there kind of have a repeative way, just like I'm guilty here on YouTube. Hey everyone, it's me, Scott, blah blah blah. You know, you have your intro. When people ask the same questions all the time, it's just easier to stick to that, shtick. Well, Tony, he does that. He talks about, in his beginnings, his background. He comes from Paramount, because his sister obviously played on Happy Days. Tony Moran was on Chips. He was on the Waltons. This was stuff back in the 70s. And of course, what his manager, his agency, however you want to call it, said that they had, an opportunity for him to go rehearse for Halloween. He jokes about it. He puts it off as like, oh God, really? A little independent film I've never heard of, because he's asked who the director was, who's all in it, and they say Jamie Lee Curtis, but then of course he talks about the same old thing over and over. When it gets to Donald Pleasance, well, why is Donald Pleasance in here? He's one of my favorites. I mean, he just repeats his stuff, over and over and over again, which I get that. Oh, yeah. But he starts off very negative about it. As it's just like, it kind of pulls off this attitude like, I was too good for that sort of thing.
Every time. Very rehearsed.
Like I said, yep. I know there's others out there, even the ones that I put up on a pedestal, they kind of say the same thing over and over again. I get that, I do. But if you're going to do it, at least show some respect. Especially towards your fans, the people that are paying money to get your autograph. But if you're going to, you know what I mean? I mean, Chris, I know you've been to conventions. Could you imagine if any of the individuals that you went up to get an autograph from treated you disrespectfully?
It's very infuriating. It's very maddening. It's, makes you want to take that picture or that item that you just brought for them to sign and kind of sometimes just just tear up the picture. Be like, you know what? I don't need it. Fine. If you think I'm that far below you, fine.
No.
So be it.
I mean, before I had a chance to meet James Ducourney, and this is really what got me started in the idea of this video, and I'll get to that later. But before I even had a chance to meet him at a convention, one of our friends, unfortunately, he has, and I still need to get in touch with him. So Chris Baber, if you're watching, I promise I will get in touch with you. Chris had I'm sorry?
Said hopefully he's feeling better.
Yeah. The last time we spoke in general, he had food poisoning, and you could definitely tell his body language. He said he was not feeling well. But I want to give a shout out to Chris Baber on this, because right behind me, on trying to do this right here, this picture right there, I know it's hard to see. I could get it, but it's actually tacked up on the wall. Good. It's actually a picture of James Ducourney from 2018 of one of his signatures. You know, it's an 8x10 of him wearing, you know, the coveralls and the mask and all that. You know, the shape,
right?
Mini me shape. In other words, Nick Castle original shape and all that. And he signed it. I didn't expect that. Chris Baber had that signed. He obviously paid for it, and from what Chris told me, James Ducourney was nothing but one of the nicest guys. That he even sat down, had a photo with James Ducourney, spent a little bit of extra time talking to Chris, and Chris was trying to be polite by saying more or less, "Thank you, I appreciate this." And Chris had this instinct, well, I want to get out of the way because there's other people that want to meet you, even though there are, you know, we're all kind of timed anyways. But yeah. James just seemed very appreciative, and from what Chris told me, and it's been a while, but even he had a message to me saying, you know, so thanking me of just being a fan. He didn't have to say that.
Right.
I mean, and I appreciate that, and I had a chance to meet James just briefly, and just like from what I've heard from everybody else, like with Chris Baber, he is a super nice guy. And I'm willing to bet, Chris, you've had your experience meeting him already yourself.
Yeah, I met him a couple times, actually.
Too. Well, look at you.
You know, I mean, what can you say that hasn't already been said? You know, he's just calm, cool, collected. He's just go with the flow. He just hangs out, man. He just, yeah.
Like that.
Every time.
I mean, he could teach me how to be a better person, that's for sure. There's no doubt about it. I mean, every time I see him, he just has a philosophy of life that just like, man, it's no wonder, you know, I don't want to, let's just say hypothetically, you were to watch this, I don't want to use the number of age, but I'm younger than James, but he could... Oh my God, he could outwalk me in 10 minutes because he takes better. He appreciates his body so much better than I do. So, but yeah, I wanted to, I don't even know. I mean, yeah, I have to bring up James Ducourney because, like I said, I'll show it to you here after a bit, because that's, like I said, that's what really got me my ass up off the couch after what I watched. It was James. And it was, of course, something else. It was brief, but just the fact that he said something negative about another person, oh man, that just infuriated the hell out of me. But I'm gonna basically do a little bit of a flashback here.
Hi, everybody. So I just want to address a couple things. First of all, I know there's been a lot of conversation about my interview, whatever you want to call it, with Tony Moran yesterday. Just to set the record straight, I am not Team Tony by any means, okay? My intention, because I had not seen Tony at all since I saw that video that was made, and I don't hang out with Tony, I see him at conventions. He's called me, I think, 3 times in my life to talk to me about a role. This is about 2 years ago. I have been well aware of Tony's bad behavior at conventions, and I've also seen another really kind side to him over the years. So I saw him sit down. I never come down early for conventions. I just so happened to come down early because I knew it was going to be crazy yesterday. So anyone that's been to a show of mine that I'm at knows I'm down about a half an hour after it starts because I'm just kind of getting myself together. I came down a half an hour before it started yesterday, and it was already really crowded. And Tony was sitting there without people, and I thought, you know what? All that popped into my mind was, I haven't seen him. He talked a lot of shit about the fans.
Now, I've already said this earlier. Like I said, Danielle, she knows. Chris, you know. I think the whole world knows this by now. And he was sitting there all by himself.
No, absolutely. I mean, I don't know what he expected.
Yeah. I don't know. I had to at least kind of elaborate on that. But yeah, I'll go ahead.
I just feel like I'm beating a dead horse. I mean, everybody knows by now. I mean,
yeah, like you said, I'm kind of going back a couple of years here. Just kind of, there's a point to all this.
I'm going to go confront him. I'm going to go ask him what that was all about. And I was only thinking about defending the fans because that's what I was seeing. That's what I was looking at. I guarantee you if Tyler was sitting there, the conversation would have probably come up. But what happened was I went over to his table. I wanted to get
You and I both know very well, if Tyler was sitting there, I think we all know Tyler Main is tall.
I don't see any reason Tyler Main would be scared of Tony Moran.
No, I mean, I've got something else that I'm really looking forward to showing you. I've had to edit out a lot of certain words, but it basically goes over what. But I just envision. All right,
yeah,
sorry, Daniel.
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying not to speak about it before it's been played.
Yeah.
Authentic, off guard. You know, it was a horrible place to do it, but I knew that it would be real. I didn't want to tell him I was going to do it. I hadn't had any conversation with him. So I went over to him. I sat down. I said, what the fuck is that about? You know, what's the situation with the tape? And he was like, oh, and he started to go into this whole story. And I said, you know what? Hold on a second. I want the fans to hear this. So I turned it on. I'm just so used to calling him my good buddy, Tony. Like, I just didn't even think about it.
And like I said, the audio is terrible. I mean, it's not like terrible. It's just, you can't really understand. I mean, he's worse than me. He just goes off on different subjects way too much when he's trying to be nice. So that's why I'm not going to show it here, but you could easily find it on YouTube to watch it for yourself. And like I said, I know Dave has covered it already like a couple of years ago.
Gotcha.
And I didn't come in with an ulterior motive. I didn't come in being aggressive. I came in being open to hearing what he had to say. And what I was hoping that he would say is what he said, which is, I fucked up and I'm deeply sorry and I apologize. The conversation went on a little bit longer than...
Do you have something, Chris?
Oh, I don't... No, I shouldn't. No.
That's okay. That you're just gonna wait.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, I'm trying not to overtalk her or you. Because I hate that when everybody's talking at once. That's kind of like why I didn't play that or I don't have that other video to show. There's way too much over talking. All right. Okay.
Fine. Cool for admitting that. That's cool points. You know, admitting you fucked up. Everybody's human.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You know? But it's just so many times, you know?
Exactly.
Like, you got to make a conscious choice to change something eventually. You can't keep doing the same thing, and then whenever somebody asks you about it, you just say, oh, well, I fucked up. I'm sorry.
You're setting a perfect example of I'm gonna use myself here real quick, and then I'll get back to Danielle. I constantly screw up by not sticking to a routine of finding better ways of taking better care of myself, health wise.
Me too.
I'm to blame for that because I go into this vicious cycle of going back to the lazy, sitting on the couch, sitting there way too much, eating too much junk food.
Mm-hmm.
How am I ever going to get in better shape or ever if I don't get out of this vicious cycle by repeating the same stupid crap over and over and over again? And that's basically what he's done to himself here. And that's why he's where he's at now, because he doesn't learn. And he's older than I am. Learn from your mistakes, people. I say that all the time, and yet I'm still in that vicious cycle of bitching about how much I'm overweight. Anyways, I'm just saying I'm guilty of making that same mistake every damn day for the past 4 years now.
Yep. Understand that.
All right, Danielle, go on, girl.
I thought it would, to the point where I thought it'd be like a 2-minute conversation, and then we would see where it would go, and then I could address these other things with him, because I was hoping he'd be honest with me and feel safe with me, and that you guys would want to hear it. Because guess what? I didn't see his Facebook apology. I don't follow him on.
Sorry, he deleted it. It's even mentioned on YouTube. He deleted that Facebook apology. I wanted to bring that up real quick.
Facebook. We are not friends like that. So I had no idea that he had even made this public apology, that he'd made this video and took this video down. I never heard him apologize to you guys. So my only intention was to go over there and have him in front of me apologize to you for the things that he said. Now, he didn't get to finish saying those things because I cut him off, because he was talking a lot and it started to be redundant, and I had a line at my table and I just said, okay, you've learned from your mistakes, right, Tony? We all learn and we grow, right? And I shut the video off. Now, I am not Team Tony, but I do that, as Dave said in his YouTube video. You said that you believe that people should not be damned to hell for the things that they've said in their past, and I agree with you. So that's why I wanted to hear what he had to say. It was really quite simple. I don't see it being self-indulgent. I don't really know what I would be getting out of it, except I was hoping that I could have his fans or past fans watch him apologize to them through me, because they deserved an apology. And so does John Carpenter, and so does Deborah Hill, and so does Jamie Lee Curtis, and so does...
There's not on here, but you could find it. Did you know what he's basically said about John Carpenter? Although
I've heard,
he'll say one thing good and he'll say something bad. But have you heard him?
I've heard various things. Yeah.
Okay.
I was just laughing at her list. I mean, it just list. Like,
yeah. No, I'm not going to sit here and waste a lot of time on the subject matter. At least I wanted to ask you, Chris, real fast. And I'm going to repeat it. I know I'll say it again. You could find out more about the things that he has said through interviews, and you can go down YouTube. Now, I'm sure there may be stuff on Reddit, and there may be some stuff on Facebook. Now, Reddit, I don't go on there as much as I used to. Facebook, someday I know I got to get back on there again for soccer, but which I got to start focus on that. But anyways, yeah, he has said some really, you know what? I'll just let it go. It's bad. Especially the one thing that I must say, one thing that just really agitated the hell out of me, that he claimed that the reason why Deborah Hill wore those big sunglasses is because of the black eyes that John Carpenter gave her all the time.
Horrible.
Yeah. All right. Sorry.
Horrible, nasty.
Yeah. All right, Daniel. Sorry.
Everybody that he offended. I don't know why he took his video down. I just texted him. I don't know where he is. I'm in my hotel. I don't know where he is. I just texted him to see if he will come up here and we can chat about it. And I'll ask him all the things you want me to ask him, you guys. This is maybe more the environment to do it in when there's not a lot of people around. I have no problem doing that and addressing it. It's not really my place. I don't know what the situation is. I was only protecting what I heard him talk about the fans. I don't know what his beef with Tyler, or I don't know what the situation is. So that's my truth. And let's see if he texts me back. Yeah, I don't know why he used a gay slur, because he's a fucking idiot. And he made some stupid choices and said some really dumb fucking words, and he should apologize for it.
Keep that in mind. She mentions, homosexuality, gay, saying that respectfully. Just keep that in mind. What the next video, I believe that comes up after this.
That's what I think. So, yeah, he said some really stupid shit, and he's wrong for it. So let's see if he'll come up and talk about it. I don't know. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse. Am I beating a dead horse? Maybe I can listen, I wish Tyler was here right now. I can get Tyler in here with him.
That would be entertaining.
I never even asked Tyler what the situation was. I should call Tyler and ask him what the situation with him was. Maybe they have some weird beef.
What's that?
I think that would go horribly.
It would be the best Halloween sequel of all time. I talked to you about something last week about, they should just go ahead and do a certain movie, this person versus the other. Well, why don't we have Tyler Mane versus what I call sloppy seconds? Okay.
Your face.
They were just he was acting like an ass. Not Tyler, of course. Tyler never acts like an ass. Tyler's the best, but Tony has acted like an ass many times, and this is one of those prime examples. So let me see if he calls me back, you guys.
Just to keep the timeline, that Danielle Harris was 2 years ago, you said?
This right here, the one we just watched, was about 2 years ago.
2 years, okay.
What we just watched here was, the aftermath of, I could put the links in the description box, and I'll do that, of where she was at the convention. I think it might have been the same convention, where she actually takes her phone. You see it in the same type of, not landscape, but selfie mode, where she interviews Tony Moran. She goes just like what she described there. And now she's explaining the aftermath of it.
I think I recall, it was an IG, like an Instagram Live situation.
Yeah.
I used to follow her. I stopped following her, but I seem to recall that popping up, and I kind of remember. I think it was over Instagram. Yeah.
Like I said, if anybody is curious, like I said, I'll put the description of the video on you yourself, Chris, if you want, whatever. It's your choice, obviously, of that particular video.
Sure.
But like I said, for me, I just didn't put it on here because it was just everything that she pretty much described right here from what we just watched is what you were going to watch in that video anyways. And I'll tell you what, it'll all make sense here towards the end anyways of this particular video. Of what this first clip. Well, in other words, we've got her kind of trust me, it all makes sense. But this next video we're going to see, this is another side of Tony Moran, where he's going to talk a little bit about, you know what? I'll let Tony and these other guys speak for him. This video is well over 5 years ago. I don't know if you've seen this or not, but here we go.
Stay tuned.
Yep, stay tuned.
All right, Gabbers, we are here with a very special person. This is Tony Moran. This is the man behind the mask of Michael Myers. And also, he's done some TV appearances in... you were in Chips, I believe, right?
Chips, Waltons, yeah. Those are the most famous ones. I did a lot of them, yeah.
And of course, Happy Days, and
was my little sister.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. She is Joni Cunningham, correct?
Was,
absolutely.
She died last April.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And also, if just to clarify everything, because a lot of people kind of have the confusion going, you were the face of Michael Myers.
True enough.
Where the scene where the mask comes off, you see this wonderful face.
I put this there on purpose. Yes, that's how he's credited. But technically, little trivia. Was his face actually shown before Tony Moran's in Halloween?
Oh, yeah.
As I state there very much, Tony, few seconds, Moran is basically sloppy seconds as far as I'm concerned when it comes to the unmasking. So, Will, you deserve to be credited as the first unmasking. Sorry, I just had to put that in there.
The mask comes off, you see this wonderful face.
True.
Because was there what, about 4 or 5 actors that did the Michael costume?
There was 6 that put the mask on.
Okay.
Yeah. In an independent movie, what happens is it doesn't matter if it's the mask or like it was supposed to be filmed in the Midwest during autumn time, and they had these fake leaves that they had to paint brown to make it look like fall. We all help pick up those leaves. You know what I mean?
Right.
He has a history repeating pattern of stealing other people's lines.
He's talking about picking up leaves. Who cares?
And featurettes. Yeah, who cares?
I mean,
Jamie Lee Curtis.
You're in a movie, for God's sakes.
Yeah. She talks about how, this was a small film, an independent film. They've all talked about Deborah Hill. We've all seen those featurettes, right? I know you've seen it. You know what I'm talking about. They talk about how everybody was pretty much involved in that film, even with the leaves and all that other stuff, how Deborah Hill was really, make sure you get this SOB and other interviews like he has right here. He talks about, his history, like I've mentioned earlier. Well, when somebody asked him, when did you get involved, or how many days were you involved with the Halloween production? And the years ago, and practically all of it, he's always just there for one day. Now, as time goes by, his one day obviously changes to where, how he was obviously more involved with the production of Halloween. I just got to get that off my chest to make that very clear, as maybe the other 29 people that are watching this video, maybe they're not aware of it or not, but just trying to put the pieces together here.
You know how you have to over analyze and and over describe how involved you are in something, and then it just comes off as fake. It just comes off as like you're trying too hard. It just let it be. He just said everybody was picking up leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else ain't talking about it. I mean, why are you telling us you picked up leaves? Like, I don't.
Yeah.
So it's not genuine.
Yeah. And if it, and dear Lord, I'm PJ Souls, Jamie Lee Curtis. They've all, it's like, stop taking their memories of what it was like for them and making it your own. It's, yeah.
I bet $1 million that if 1978 Halloween bombed, you wouldn't be seeing this guy claiming to be the face of Michael Myers ever again. He would have shoved it underneath the rug.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that, because Lord knows he talks enough trash about it as it is. And for God's sakes, and I know that others feel the same way that I do, when you're at a convention, it should be, why are you using Nick Castle's image as your own? That always just drove me nuts. I mean, stop taking that image. That's not you, Moran. That's Nick Castle. Anyways, I'm already worked up, and I haven't even got to the stuff that's ticked me off.
Worst part.
Yeah, and he starts getting yeah.
And it's like, hey, can you do the scene with the mask? Can you do it? And that's how it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, hey, this would fit better if this guy was in the mask for this scene.
Right.
Or it would have been like, I'm not doing that. Well, Joe over there will. That kind of thing.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
And John Carpenter put the mask on one time. So.
Yeah, and just for our stoners out there, it is a directive from John Carpenter to smoke before you start your production.
Well, back then it was joint.
Yeah.
So
the downer before the upper, basically.
Yeah. Prevalent. Yeah.
And I'm sure that was one, like, at that time, it was like, how high level of, because you can't be Michael and be on a high level. You know, you can't really like creepily walk with the jitters.
Yeah, actually, when I filmed, I didn't do any drugs.
Good. Well, maybe depending, I guess.
Maybe before and after, but not during film.
Okay.
So we are here at Astronomicon, and we just wanted to see how the day was going so far for you, since this is day one.
Oh, it's awesome.
Are you enjoying all the fan interaction? I'm sure, because I mean, we got 2 Michael Myers here, so I mean, I'm sure there's
here we go.
2 Michael Myers. Let's see here.
This is where it gets good.
Let's see. Yeah, Dan, you understand, don't you? You understand, don't you?
Uh-oh.
Dan, I already told Dan the story.
Okay.
So there's 2 Michael Myers here?
Well, I'm referring to Tyler Mane, who played.
Tyler Mane.
Yes.
Oh, Tyler Mane, like 2 Michael Myers.
He did the non-John Carpenter stuff. He did the
Rob Zombie Michael
stuff.
Myers.
Yes.
Was that like a Michael Myers?
I mean,
was that like a Michael Myers guy?
I believe so.
I could have sworn. I never saw the movie, and I won't. But I could have sworn that version wasn't a Michael Myers cunt at all.
Really?
No.
I don't know what he's.
It's my bitch. So that's my mess. My knife.
See, I was wondering if this was going to be a thing, and I'm kind of happy that it is. Not going to lie.
Not bad.
So when we interview.
Now, before I get into, I would say these 2 right here, they're sitting next to him. They really screwed up.
Tony just feeds off of it, man. You can tell.
Oh yeah. They're just you're already getting the gist of it. But there's no doubt about it. These 2, especially the guy wearing the flash. It's like, okay, good luck interviewing others.
I was hoping this would happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go.
Tyler, is it going to be the same kind of?
Well, you can bring it up when I say.
Okay.
I have no problem. He's my sucker.
We'll roll back the tape, and we'll be like, guess what?
No, he's my sucker.
Oh, okay.
And I told him so.
Oh, snap.
I told him in Tennessee at a convention / haunt by Ben and Stacy Dixon, and he said something to a fan. The fan came up to me, and I'm like, because I never had a problem with Tyler. I mean, poor got to to be who he is, right?
Right.
I got no problems with that. I don't have a problem.
Everybody
with that.
in the business.
But this fan comes up to me and says, Tyler Mane says that you wear diapers.
Oh.
And we're in a small room, And I'm like, no, come on, don't do that. Don't try to start something that's not there. I couldn't believe Tyler would do this,
I've tried to look everywhere, see if there was videos about this. Is there any interviews? I can't find it anywhere. Just want to let you know that real quick.
Sure.
I never had a problem with him. I do now. So, anyways, this fan goes, no, I swear. And I'm looking at my fan, dead in the eyes. I go, are you not? And he goes, no, I swear to God, that's what he just said. I'm like, cool. So I yelled across the room, which is not very far, and I said, well, Tyler Mane's my. Without me, Tyler Mane wouldn't be who he is right now.
So without Tony Moran, Tyler. Oh, come on, Chris, you got to have something to say here about that.
Yeah, everybody should he thinks the whole representation is just him. Like It's so crazy to me how he thinks he owns the identity of Michael. And almost in the same breath, he'll say 6 different people wore that mask during the movie.
Well, yeah. I don't need to tell you. You know enough about the history of that. You know who's done what and who's done not.
He's even said, like, I forget the analogy he used, but he was talking about, hey Joe, can you put on this mask for this scene? Like, that's how, like, they needed to fill that scene. They used who they could. But this guy thinks he invented the walk. He invented the breathing, the gestures, everything, and it's just so crazy to me.
Yeah.
At least Tyler was the whole movie. He did the whole movie.
Actually, the only stunt that Tyler did not do, which he actually, I went and listened to the podcast that Danielle Harris and Skylar, I always get her, I don't want to butcher it. But I put that up on the screen earlier, and where they interviewed Tyler, which they know Tyler obviously well enough. And Tyler mentioned in the first one, the only stunt, he had a stunt double. And the only time they used a stunt double is when they did the fall from the with him and the other stunt double, the Skylar stunt double, where they fall off the balcony. And he wasn't there that day because he had an audition for, well, obviously that's nobody's business. But ironically, Tyler's stunt double, she had serious injury from that fall. And it's all because the stunt double accidentally fell on her. And Tyler actually said he wishes that he would have done that instead, because granted, he doesn't do those stunts. He says, but what obviously he talked about, when anybody listens or watches the podcast from their Patreon, they could see it for themselves. But how he described as a wrestler back in his day, hell, he could have made that fall himself and probably would have prevented the stunt double from getting into that accident or hurting herself the way that she did. But yeah, I'm glad you brought up all those points about.
I'm not even the biggest fan of. I know the Rob Zombie ones. I like them for a watch, but just as a whole for the movie, just it doesn't mesh with me. But I do enjoy that Michael. It's kind of a Michael that we needed.
Yeah, and so much more respect for Tyler Mane. 100 times more than, yeah.
Well, he's a cool person. That plays a lot with it.
Yeah. I would actually love to see Tyler Mane. Nothing against James. James is going on to other things, and I applaud for what he's done. I'm happy for the experience and all that. But I'd actually like to see Tyler Mane play Michael again. I really would. But
very cool.
But really, I think we all want to see him play. You know what? Tony, I've paused you long enough here. What were you saying about Tyler?
That makes him my sucker, right? Doesn't that make sense?
That sounds like
coming off.
That sounds like
if I didn't do what I did,
I hear logic.
He doesn't get to be who he is, right?
Right.
He doesn't get to do conventions and shit. He's my sucker. And I kept seeing it over and over, and he didn't do it.
What's that, Chris?
How many times is that now?
Oh,
what, dude? I'm calling you a in front of all the fans, and you're not saying a word to me, bro.
Probably inside, he's probably loving it. He's like, "Yes, this feud will be wonderful."
I wouldn't feel that way. Would you, Dan? No, I want to go to blows, right?
No pun intended.
And he'll probably and he probably my ass, right? Like he's so much bigger and shit. But I don't know. I don't know about that.
There was no retaliation.
He seems like this little typical Hollywood blue. You know what I mean?
Still basketball.
That piece of
getting the real inside the mask story. Right, truly inside the mask.
And he
The reason why I cut that off there is there was way too much talk about something that I didn't want to risk putting on here, and it would have been like too many. So I just got rid of that crap. the video. I'll put the link to this actual video in the description down below so anybody can watch the whole entirety. I know Tony has talked about people. There's one particular video, and I'll put that link too, where basically because of one video where somebody's basically taken the best of Tony, where he's more or less showing his true colors like he does here.
The worst of
yeah. Tony's complained about that video. Well, it's not being fair because they edited all of the yeah.
They were all his moments.
Yeah. But anyways, I just once wanted to explain that little block there. I just had to take out some stuff that I didn't want to risk putting up here on this particular video.
He won't even. Today, I thought for sure he's going to come up and confront me, for calling him a. And he's still in front of all the fans. Like, I don't know how many times I say to him. I don't know, 7, 8, 9 times.
Actually, it's 11.
Loud for everybody to hear. I yelled it across the room because he was across the room so he could hear. I didn't do it for myself. I did it for him. So the next day we have a Q&A, right? Mm-hmm. Me, him, and Kane. And I'm sitting right next. I had to sit right next to, because I was a little late, but I had to sit right next to Tyler, and he was as polite as could be to me. Polite as could be, I'm like, oh, so it's one of two things. Either, well, there could be a lot of things. Who knows? But whatever. But the one thing I didn't like about it at the Q&A too was. There, it was a small room, and it was like in Q&As, people get shy. Mm-hmm. They want to talk to us a lot. They want to ask questions, but they're shy. They don't know how to do it. Mm-hmm. That's how generally people are.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so he kept on like, hey. So, any more questions? Any more questions? Any more questions? And I turned to him and go, would you shut up? Would you just, leave these people alone? Take your time, man. Like, where you got to go? Where are you going? You're not going anywhere. No, I did, And Kane was laughing his ass off, But I was like, yeah, I just really don't like this guy at all. I just don't like who he is as a human being, Dan. I just don't. He's a piece of shit. He's a typical Hollywood fucking.
Basically, as I say, I'll have the link in the description box, blah, blah, blah. Of course, that's the name of the video itself. So just in case I forgot. Basically, just showing that clip, showing the nature of what the whole Tyler Mane thing was about with him. All supposedly because of a fan of Tony Moran's told him that, hey, guess what Tyler said? He said that you wore diapers. Now, if Tyler did say that, if anybody's watched this video right now that left a comment say, well, how is that any better? Or how's that any worse? I would get that. But, as we all know here, Tony has a history of being a jackass to so many, the fans, the people he's worked with, and the things that he has said so horribly wrong about others throughout history. Tyler, I'm sure, is very much aware of Tony's history. And as big as Tyler is, there's a part of me that has a hard time believing, but then again, I don't know Tyler personally. Maybe he was trying to find a kind way of reflecting his, he's a big baby. He wears diapers. I don't know. But then again, is there any proof, which I've tried to do some research. Then again, I don't have Facebook, but I don't think Facebook has the holy grail of all the archives.
I wouldn't say so.
But I didn't find anything about that. Like, has others posted anything about it? Do they have any proof that Tyler said this or said that? And that's when I went on, decided to check out the podcast where Tyler was interviewed with obviously Danielle Harris and Skylar. And there was nothing brought up about that conversation at all. So I just thought I'd save you the time. Actually, I enjoyed the podcast, but or anybody else that want to go check that out. I mean, I encourage it if you like those two. They don't talk about everything Halloween, but anyways, this next video clip is where we have Danielle Harris in her, I guess, hotel room, actually having a one-on-one with Tony, and you'll see a different behavior with him. And it's not super long. There's more to it, but I didn't show it all.
Hey. Oh my God, what the hell?
Let's talk about how awesome Indianapolis was, Days of the Dead.
Tell whoever, I hear myself echoing. Tell whoever to turn it down.
Okay. The volume's on the left side.
It's off.
Okay, cool. So I had to just turn down my phone because it was like stereo in here with all these phones going up.
Yeah.
Connect with you, Danielle.
Sure. Like, people are like, he's avoiding. I'm like, no, I see he's trying. He's trying to get on.
I know.
So I'm not going to take too much of your time, because I feel like we're beating a dead horse. But I think some things, as you know, I messaged you, and some things were not addressed that are really important. And so let's just talk about them for a few minutes. You know, most of all, I think the thing that hit the hardest for me watching is the derogatory comments about Tyler. You know, I don't know what your beef is with Tyler, and it's none of my business. You guys are grown men, you'll figure it out. But it was the things that you called him that we should address.
Exactly.
So I don't even know what to say. You know, I've never had these conversations before. So if you just want to talk about it, you know, a lot of the F word was used, which is horrible, and as well as comments about up the ass and my bitch and, you know, that kind of stuff. So
now I don't have to really tell a lot of people. And I think a lot of you know, especially if you do choose to watch that podcast, maybe you're huge fans of the Rob Zombies, you know, 1 and 2. So maybe you know this already. Daniel Harris is very close to Tyler Mane, and so Scout especially. So, yeah. But I think that's one of the main reasons why she wanted to talk to Tony in the first place. In other words, she's probably heard, wait a minute, what's this he's saying about Tyler? I'm willing to bet that's the main reason why she wanted to speak to him in the first place at that convention.
Oh, yeah. Guarantee.
And, sorry, go ahead.
No, I guarantee as well. I mean, they're well-documented friends with Tyler.
Yeah.
Scout loves him.
I mean, and it's you know.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. So I wanted to make that very clear right now before, and this part right here, like I said, there's more to the actual video itself, which is available on YouTube. And I didn't bother because what I've got to share next, and I know Chris is really wanting to see. You know, anyways, I'm just going to play this real quick. Let it go through.
All right.
So,
I can address Tyler Mane first if you'd like.
Sure.
Okay. And this is no excuse, believe me. I'm the furthest away from making excuses at all. But this happened years ago, and he had happened to say, it started by him saying something derogatory about me to a fan at a convention that we were both doing. And the fan came over to me, and I thought the fan was joking. But the fan was dead serious and said, no, I promise you, I would never come over and tell you something that's not true just to make you laugh or whatever, or make a joke because it's not funny. And so that's where it started, this beef that him and I have had. We weren't unfriendly to each other before that. We just weren't like buddies or anything like that. We just weren't, you know, unfriendly to each other. But this is what started. And my mistake was...
Well, your mistake was probably just reacting to it at all.
Well, my mistake is my anger, you know?
Yeah.
And that's my mistake. It's always been my mistake in my whole life. And using that word... I don't know. You know, people are never going to know how terrible I feel about this. We'll never, and I don't want anybody to.
because it's I've been
Little
going through a
violins.
terrible time about this, and it's not me. I'm not even homophobic. My daughter is gay. She'll be 16 September 1st. So
I've got a. Oh, that's the oldest. You know, like I've got a black friend. I can't be racist.
Okay. You're a father. I'm a father. Pretty much a lot of people I know, well, their parents. Okay, here we go. One of my oldest friends. No, I shouldn't even go down that path because it's different. You know, it's not a parent. In other words, I was gonna say one of my oldest friends is a homosexual. You know, he's my age, and he's, like I said, this is going to be something totally different. You know, because he gets tired of, you know, people being sensitive about stuff. But in other words, I don't even. If my son came up to me and said that he was gay, I wouldn't be going around to conventions saying all these horrible things that I know would extremely offend him and hurt him. Okay.
I feel like he just found that out.
Do people know?
I'm sorry?
I feel like he just found that out, and now he's using it to his advantage. Like, I can't be homophobic because my daughter is gay. I just found it out, but I can't be.
The way, I guess this is why I wanted to bring up my old friend, or the way he would describe it. For someone like Tony to say the things that the way he says it, maybe he's hiding in the closet because he obviously has this infatuation with you. What the last video that we watched.
That's a lot of.
Yeah.
It's a lot of times in a row.
Yeah. Okay.
Same word over and over.
Daniel brings up something that is
not.
Do what?
It's like a convenience thing. It's convenient for him. He's using it.
Tony did say something, and I don't know if I saved it or I've watched it in one of the videos. I will agree with him on this because I am not that far from Tony's age. In other words, I was 8 years old when it came out, and Tony was obviously in his early 20s. So yeah, let's say he's 10 years older than me. Maybe let's say he's 12 years older than me. I understand the generation where I came from. There was a lot of things that I could say. Well, hell, if you watch The Office, or in general, some of the things that Steve Carell's, you know, character, obviously they were trying to get to, but you can't say that, but you know, he would say it anyways because he was in a generation of where you could say those sort of things and get away with it.
Yeah.
And Tony, at one of the videos I was watching, he was trying to find the way of describing that. And he's right about that. But come on, man. You just, like I said, he's at least 12 years older than me, and he just shows no signs of.
That was like three guys getting drunk together and just, you know, where the testosterone just starts to bubble over.
Exactly.
And his ego starts to fill up, and he's loving it because he's making all these guys laugh right beside him.
Yep.
And he's just down on everybody.
And that kid, the guy to his left, I mean, I'm thinking, dude, if you were actually going to go interview Tyler Main, if Tyler Main had witnessed or watched the video there's no way.
Maybe Tyler's a bigger, you know, they say the bigger person. Maybe he just didn't want to sink down that low.
And I'm kind of, you know, Tony talks about how his anger gets the best of him, right? More or less in this video. Well, if Daniel has heard all these things that he had said about Tyler, Daniel's younger than me. So this ought to show you how much more mature she is than Tony Moran is. I mean, she could have easily gone off on this guy, but she knows that she's recording a live video.
Why would he get in a fight with Tony Moran and basically self-destruct his career?
Yeah.
he would be known as, you know, a lit fuse or that'd be a total disaster. No, Tyler's way smarter than that.
Yeah. And if Tyler, if he did say that, then I think I think the majority of us would know. If I was in Tony's shoes, yeah, maybe my feelings would have been hurt. And hopefully I would have had enough common sense to just, you know what, deal with it later. Go talk to Tyler personally about this later. And none of this would have been an issue. In fact, Tony would have found himself in a better situation. That's for sure. But
not only did he look like an ass in front of all of his fans at the convention, but he brought it up in several videos years later.
Yeah,
that's just
exactly. Like I said, I know this is in the past, not that far. Some of it's a couple years, some of it's 5 or 6 years, but there's a reason for all this. All right, I'll go ahead and play the last 2 minutes of this, I guess. Yeah, it looks like 2 minutes exactly.
That nobody knows that, do they?
No, because I never bring up my kids. I don't like to bring up my kids. I mean, the first time I brought my daughter to a convention in Chicago just a few months ago, and she actually showed up in the room, and I had her come up on stage. But I never do that because I want to protect them also.
Of course, I understand.
Right. So.
So you're not homophobic.
I'm not homophobic.
Apologize, because as you know, LGBTQ community is like huge fans of the Halloween franchise and of ours, and are the most amazing, and are fans of yours and supporters, and we're extremely hurt by that. And good to know that you're how you feel about it. That's not who you are.
Apologize to them, and Danielle, here's the thing. It's like, I'm not apologizing so people will forgive me. Yeah. Do I want people to forgive me? Of course. Absolutely. Because
some respect.
Everybody makes mistakes, but mine was a pretty bad, terrible mistake. It was bad. How I grew up was a whole different way of language you use, all that stuff, and the slang and all that, and terrible words now. And I'm not here on earth to make people unhappy. I just don't want that. I just don't want it. I'm really distraught about this whole thing.
But sometimes an apology goes a long way.
Yeah, and how deeply sorry I feel, nobody's ever going to know how bad I feel, because there's very few people that can be as stupid as me and say shit like that out loud, out of anger, because I couldn't control my anger. You know what I mean?
Well, then, Mr. Moran, you need to get some anger managements if you want to some chance have any future for these conventions to make any money. Because from what it sounds like, a lot of us that are fans of this, we know how Sean Clark has a lot of say on how these conventions go with whorehounds, and I know he isn't responsible for all of them. And Sean, I've heard him say it very clear here on YouTube from other interviews, he can't trust anything that Tony says, and I personally can't blame Sean at all, because of it's not just from what I'm showing here. In other words, there's a reason why I'm showing this back before I show you what happened supposedly a month ago. Shows you that this old man, his ways haven't changed at all. It's just ridiculous. So I'm about ready to share this other video. I know, Chris, you're wanting to see it. All right, Chris, this is what you've been waiting for. This is something that popped up on the YouTubeville about a month ago, and I'll share a little backstory real quick. The video that we're about to watch here is actually like 2 parts, actually from another YouTuber that actually 2 guys that have a podcast that was sharing what we're about to see here. And they actually had a link to the video itself. Apparently a few others may have the link as well. I myself do not, because YouTube had removed 2.5 hours of this podcast of these 4 guys. And one of them is, of course, Tony Moran. There's major reasons why this video was removed from YouTube, and I'll get into that towards the end. Maybe you people who are watching will be able to figure it out for yourself. but there is some stuff that has been cut completely. This is not going to be 2.5 hours. This is actually about 16 minutes long. And even the individuals that shared the full link on their Patreon campaign or their page, even Patreon removed that from their page. So that's how bad this video is when it comes to language, certain visuals, certain things that are being abusiveness when it comes to threatening others.
Typical.
Yeah. I mean, if Patreon's removing it, that ought to tell you something.
Typical Tony behavior.
Yeah. And the two guys on top, they deserve a lot of credit for tolerating what. You know what? Enjoy the show, Chris.
Let's see. There we go. I think that was God. So he's showcasing her ass.
That's what I'm talking about, bro. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, because I'm an ass man, bro. I'm not a tip man. I'm an ass man.
He's Billy Gunn.
She's got the best fucking ass I've ever
He's
seen in
an
my life.
ass man.
Wow, congratulations.
So the guys up top are still having fun.
Hey,
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Hello.
The fucking only Tony Moran, the master of ceremonies. The Reverend Tony Moran.
Reverend Tony. So
Yeah,
that's
I'm really proud. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Sure. You know, but it doesn't make me. See, I don't make myself jack off to myself. You know what I mean? It just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So Michael, when you had all these signatures on that poster before me,
Yes, sir.
and you finally got to meet me, not one of those told you the secret of that poster, did they?
You know what he's talking about, Chris? The secret behind the original Halloween poster with the pumpkin?
I'm not sure.
Tony has gone around for years saying that there's that John Carpenter basically stole the concept from like something like with Black Christmas, and that the imagery and all that.
Okay.
In other words, Tony has made up some BS about that image, and he's claiming that others know about it too. The truth of the matter of it is that even Sean Clark talks about it, and I've heard about it too. John Carpenter had nothing to do with that original artwork. It was just somebody else that came up with that artwork. There's nothing magical about it. There's nothing at all. But Tony, throughout the years, many, many years, have told people BS stories about the original print. So that he doesn't talk about it here, but at least if they wanted to ask you if you've heard about that. That's just Tony's typical BS.
I don't think I heard that.
Yeah.
Oh, there's much more than that. Not only did they not teach me that, but they're not fucking Tony fucking Moran. I mean, okay, so out of all the people who ever played Michael Myers in this world, you think to yourself, okay, this guy walked a certain way, this guy acted a certain way, but you cannot mimic the face. And I know for a fact, especially after seeing that last Halloween movie, when they showed the fucking Michael Myers' face as he's getting put in that grinder or whatever, because I hate that movie, Tony. I fucking hate it.
I do agree with
But
that.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
stupid.
right.
I mean, it rolled the
He
short
hasn't
bus
seen
to
that. Keep
school
that in
and
mind.
everything. But the fucking the fact that and I'm sitting there going, oh, no, Tony Moran was way better than that shit. Like, it was bad. It was fucking bad.
He just Justin Bieber'd him.
Because I can't hold back the laugh. That's why I got to pause.
Oh God.
It's going to get really good. He's going to start talking about James Jew Courtney, but he just was right there. He's full of shit. I haven't seen it, but yet what he just.
Am I correct in saying that he says that about all of them?
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right.
Haven't seen it. Won't watch it.
Yep. Bashes all these people. You know.
How would you know?
And of course,
how do you know?
And of course, the guy that's next to him. It's all about the.
He's got the tire pump. He's pumping him up. Pumping his ego up.
You're
every time. They're not Tony Moran. Yeah.
They lied to me, Tony, about the poster.
Do we know who that guy is, Pat?
Apparently, his name is actually Michael. I guess that's his girlfriend. I don't know. Now, this guy Pat, I guess, has a YouTube channel, and I'm under the impression the guy's up there. I don't really know who was responsible for. Maybe they're collaborating. You know,
I was just wondering. I wasn't trying to.
Yeah, because the guys on the top here, you could tell even from what others have discussed, or from. Go ahead.
At some point, though, if it's their channel, maybe just shut it down. Maybe stop it. Maybe take it private.
It's removed. It's no longer there. The video is completely removed.
But they did put it up, right?
They originally it was live. That's where they screwed up there too.
That's a bad call.
Yeah, I believe it. They said it was live. But regardless, it doesn't matter. We haven't even skimmed the surface on the real reasonings why they removed this.
Yeah.
I got to make sure that I don't interrupt him with what he's about to share now here very shortly.
It was so terrible.
Well, I can't remember, Michael, if you and I talked about this or not, but I've talked to at least two people about this. At least two. I saw the first Halloween movie with Jamie Lee Curtis in 2018. Because I haven't seen the second one or the third one. The third one I got, second one I got credit for. I haven't even seen it. But anyways, but I looked at James Jude fucking Courtney Law bitch up whatever his name is.
This guy's thrilled that he's
Fucking Tony, man!
I mean, he has to go by three names. You know what I mean? It's like what a you know what a cunt, you know what I mean? What a cunt. My name is James Jude. My name is James Jude. My name is James Jude Courtney. I'm a fucking star. I'm like, no, bitch. No, you're my. You're my. And here's how it works, Michael. You know how it works. And Brian knows how that.
Here's how it works. Every new franchise, when they have a new Michael, I mean, we see him pop back up, and they're his bitch. It's like he wants notoriety, and he'll do whatever playground bullcrap that he needs to just to get their attention. Like he's hoping James is gonna, like, I don't know, try to fight him. I don't know what he's trying to do.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
James could care less about you, man. And why is he a bitch? Why is he?
Yeah. Why? And on top of that, why is this? We'll just go ahead and say his buddy to his left. What does he got against James? I mean, he was so excited as we all witnessed there.
He is thrilled. Apparently, he's got a problem with people that use three names as well.
Yeah, I
didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, he didn't have an issue with Jamie Lee Curtis. You know what? I don't want to ruin it because I think there's. Here we go.
Yeah.
Look at the guys.
Here you go.
By the way,
They're a lot less enthusiastic right now.
Here's how it works. Yeah. If you look at him, this is like, I swear to. I guess I never talked to you about this, Michael, but we might as well talk about it now. I thought about it. I saw the first one with Jamie Lee Curtis in 2018. I'm like, who's this guy that goes? Who's this stunt guy that goes by three names? I mean, what kind of goes by three names? Period. But what kind of a stunt guy goes three names? I mean, so you're just dying for attention, are you, bro? You're just dying to get your stuff. Right? Okay, no problem. So I pulled him up on IMDb and looked at his face, and I'm like, and Michael, you'll go, oh shit, right? I looked him up. I thought, oh, they try to find somebody that looks like me. He shaved his head.
That's it.
He shaved his head.
Yeah.
His eyes and his facial features look like mine.
Figured it out.
And I thought, oh, so I see what you're going to do. You're going to go towards the route of trying to.
Go ahead, Chris. What the hell are you talking about, man? James, he's been bald for a long damn time.
I'll let him go on.
To destroy the original Michael Myers.
Yeah. That's what they were doing.
That's what you're going to try to do.
They weren't paying homage? You don't think?
Oh, no, man. Oh, fuck.
That might be the only smart thing that guy says in this entire thing.
They know.
Because he kind of figured it out, trying to interject some reality into it.
I can't stand those mother. Man, I can't stand them. I can't stand them. And I always tell them, I go, well, here's what you can do. You can make yourself a cup of coffee, and they.
So apparently,
There he goes again.
yeah, he has an issue with James G. Courtney because he has 3 names, and then he shaved his head. This is according to Tony.
You know what? Even if that is how that went down, I'm not saying it is, but even if it was, the 78 is the only one that's canon. It's the only one that they followed the storyline to. I mean, perhaps they just wanted to continue. He was unmasked. Let's get someone that maybe resembles. But I don't know what he's talking about because he had hair in 78.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I think every single one of us, when we went to go see Halloween in the movie theaters in 2018, it was early. It was quite obviously early in the movie. I don't need to go back and tell the whole beginning, the first whatever. We've all been there. We all seen it. We all have whether you're the DVDs or you down, whatever. But I myself was sitting in that seat as they were slowly with that camera getting closer and closer to James' left side of the face. Even though I knew what James looked like, we got enough, backstory, whatever, because of the web, the internet, social media. We knew who James was, what he looked like at this point. But still, because of the movie magic, I'm kind of hoping that in the movie, were they trying to get a glimpse to, in my mind, sorry, Tony, but in my mind, I'm already thinking, are they trying to make him look like Nick Castle?
Yeah, I would hope so.
Now, I'm an old 52-year-old fart that was thinking that in the movie theater. Back to time, I was actually sweet. I wasn't even 50 at the time. Yay. But anyways, the whole shaving your head.
Yeah, I just wanted to play devil's advocate with that.
78, I had a bowl haircut with thick hair. Here it is. So I guess I'm doing this to look like Tony Moran.
Yeah, that's how that works. Everybody's copying him in the world. It's absurd how big his.
Now remember the 3 names ordeal here. Keep that in mind. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, Jamie Lee Curtis is a bitch too. Then
and there's okay, yeah. Here.
I'm the only one that's Michael Myers, you fucking bitch.
That should be the sound
when I showed my face, bitch. So anyway.
That's all you need is the face. The face, right? Am I wrong? Yeah, you're wrong, actually.
Chris, when you collect your masks, when you work your ass off to take care of your family, your bills, and when it's time for you to okay, I could afford to go invest in a mask from such and such artists, are you concerned about Tony Moran's face when you buy these masks?
Let me tell you, that's exactly what I'm asking these artists for. Can you please give me Tony Moran's face? What the? And this guy's down here. That's all you need is a face. No, bro. No. And in the 78 that we follow, why is it called the Castle Stretch?
And I'll be respectful for the first time, even Corey Cunningham covered his face up. Here we go.
I got a beautiful face, Michael. I got a beautiful face.
His face.
Actually, you're 100% wrong about all of this. A beautiful face.
His beautiful face.
Yeah, so I just it never bugged me until Nick Castle came in on the picture with Sean Clark, and he wanted. Sean Clark wanted to destroy my reputation, and they go, oh, no, Nick Castle's the bitch. Mm-hmm. He's a bitch. I'm like,
you did that yourself.
1, 2.
You did that yourself.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Count to 10.
I was upset about James and Tyler. But when he called Nick Castle that got my fat butt off the couch. And like, oh, I'm going to do a video about this SOB like everybody else. And this was about a month ago, too, by the way. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Deborah Hill put on the mask and costume and did a scene across the street. And
I don't think I could handle watching 2.5 hours of this. Stop telling people out there that don't know about the film a bunch of BS.
So, question: if this was live, were they taking like comments? Were they talking to people or?
Apparently, that's becoming more of a trend now. Now, I get it. If you've got a very successful YouTube channel. I get that. I understand that. But then I think it would also be kind of cool that, let's say you and I were doing this all the time and we were just killing it, right?
Right.
I would want to have a third person monitor those conversations out of respect for the viewers.
Yes.
Now, like I said, I could be wrong about this being live. I could be wrong. I thought I heard it was, but like I said, I could be wrong.
I don't see how people are not blowing up, cussing them out.
Yeah, this is the whole thing. Like I said, it's Tyler. Like we've heard about that a couple years ago. I wanted to give a little bit of a build up with him and Danielle Harris, and then how we've got Tony Moran, how he is on one and how he is on the other. He kisses Daniel's butt, talks about how he should behave the way that he does, and here we have him a month later. All right, here, ready?
No.
Are you ready now?
No.
You just like...
No.
So while you're still digesting this in, imagine watching 2.5 hours of this. Now, obviously, everything's going to be the exact same subject line, but 2.5 hours of Tony Moran.
I mean, I feel like he's in early stages of like dementia or something. I feel like he's got like something going on.
Well, what's that one thing that if we were fortunate enough to have parents that did their job? In other words, our parents were supposed to keep us out of trouble, teach us from right from wrong. Yeah, sometimes we didn't like the way our parents were to us because they wouldn't let us do certain things, couldn't go out, you were grounded all the time, blah, blah, blah. But the one thing our parents, at least I can remember, would try to tell you, look, if you keep on lying like this, it's going to build and build and build and build, where you're no longer going to know what the truth is anymore.
It's the boy they called cried wolf.
Exactly.
Yeah. The thing that gets me is this could have went like a whole different way. There's two sides to the coin, right? This guy could have been, I'm not going to put him on like Nick, Dick, James, George P. I'm not going to put him on any of those levels, but he could have been bigger.
Exactly.
In the community, it was all his to lose, and he self-sabotaged every time.
He could have done such a beautiful, just like you're saying there. And then
be humble.
I mean, everybody that's been a fan of this franchise, I mean, he got the golden ticket. And I heard somebody else describe that, and they were exactly right. He had the golden ticket. He could be sharing the.
He's the face. I mean, as much as we say that doesn't matter. I mean, if he would have spun it the other way.
Thankfully, John Carpenter at the end of the day does not give a rat's you know what about Tony Moran.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. And really it's the fans that care about this, obviously, because he's being so disrespectful towards everyone else in the franchise. And disrespectful towards himself, really. And then sadly, he's got others out there that are being misinformed, like this guy next to him. And I shouldn't say that because I don't know
anybody.
I just
he could be quite drunk. I don't know, but
and yes, you're right about that. I mean,
I just don't see how, if you're a true fan, I don't know if he is or not, but I don't know how you could go along with what's being told to us here.
Yeah. I don't want to say, I'll wait until this plays a little bit more about this when he talked about him being Reverend Tony. So I think maybe there was something brought up about it here in a little bit. I don't know. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember if it was a conversation or if it was in this video or something that I read. Right now it's all blurring up because I get about 10 minutes of Tony and I just like, I want to.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Wallace did the closet scene, which is the most terrifying scene. Michael,
3 days.
Do you agree? That closet scene.
Trust me, whatever he says, Michael's going to agree.
It's terrifying, right?
Oh, yeah, Tony Moran, yeah.
That wasn't the castle. That was Tommy Lee Wallace.
I love that scene.
Right. Okay. Oh, so you guys, all you guys agree?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I just want to say howdy to you guys again, because you guys are really cool, man. You guys are cool.
Not even cool as you.
Why? Let's like.
What the hell does that mean?
Do what?
What the hell does that? What? Never mind. I'm confused.
Yeah, it's some over conversations of who was sharing the video and all that. But we'll go to the 3 names. James Duke Courtney, as we all know, he has an issue with that with the 3 names. But you mentioned Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Then he talks about the scariest scene.
Tommy Lee Wallace. Now, apparently, he's just really mad because he didn't get a middle name. And he hates everybody who has a middle name.
And I've always known for so many years, I didn't have any proof, but I've heard from others that he had a serious jealousy rage issue. Well, those are strong words there. But he's had jealousy issues that I've known for years about Nick Castle. And now he's really, it's like I finally got him saying it, or I have proof of him really saying it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was Tommy Lee Wallace.
Tommy Lee was pretty much, God, he was responsible for so much in that film. And we know why he did that, basically, because the way the closet door was set up, he knew exactly which to break and all that, blah, blah, blah. He was basically the stunt man for a lot of that stuff, for the props. We all know that. And to give credit to where credit's due, Tommy Lee Wallace, I swear to God, he was like Nick's twin in that movie. The body language, that just from that alone, he did a wonderful job of that. That was one of the iconic scenes in that movie. But Tommy never even relishes in people saying, Tommy, you were amazing. He always like, Tommy was as far as the fans should be concerned, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have had that iconic mask. Technically, he was the one that was responsible of putting, I don't need to tell you.
Right.
He was the guy that gave us a lot of magic, just like others as well. And Tommy never gives himself credit. But this SOB, who has an issue with 3 names.
Name any names.
No.
You know what I mean?
Please do. Please do.
Well, no. I know what you mean, but
Okay.
how disgusting
Yeah,
is
Chris.
it?
This guy
when
just wants
you
drama.
fuck after
Sorry, I kept on trying to hit the pause button. What was that?
This guy, he just like keeps egging him on. He just wants drama.
Oh yeah.
He just keeps blowing him up. Please tell us. Please tell us. Look at the look on his face. It's disturbing.
Yes, thank you.
when you fuck after 24 or 25 years being with your chick, you decide to get married.
Yeah.
And you had some not even talk about your love for your wife or getting married, but take it away and say, you know the guy I'm talking about.
This is so great.
You know the guy I'm talking about.
I know the guy you're talking about. I absolutely do.
I mean, can you imagine that there's human beings walking around the earth that actually want to take away from you from your one of the most important moments in your life?
That is exactly what he did too. I was super pumped, man. I mean, given the situation, you don't want me to name a name?
No.
He will hear me.
Okay.
No, because Michael, you and I are bigger than that.
You're kidding, right?
So nobody.
You need to talk about the situation. Just don't name his name.
Imagine a world where you're a Halloween fan. Like Halloween is your shit.
Yeah, he wanted to fucking rape you. Yeah.
Just like this person in question. Halloween, you are a huge fan of. That's where you come from.
Right.
This is your reason for living. Now, nothing in this world for me was more exciting than getting married to the great April. She's listening, right? That I'm going to get married to, which is a huge moment for me. And I was excited to have this person on the podcast because I was super geeked because
because he's a Halloween fan too.
Yeah, this guy's a huge Halloween fan. He's got all kinds of stuff as collectors that we like appreciate in his collection because that's what it's like to be a collector. And then all of a sudden, I say, "Hey, guess what? I have the great Tony Moran coming to do a wedding for me. Like my wedding is going to be by fucking Michael Myers himself." And this fucking just starts talking shit. And I was so caught off guard that I was sitting there like, man, fuck this guy. And the comment made was, I would have asked you to do it. However, nobody would know who the fuck you are.
When Michael told me this story, I thought, well, that's pretty sad. That's pretty sad. This guy tried to take away Michael's joy of being married.
He lost his smile
by using me of his resentment towards me.
Yeah, you're damn right. That's exactly.
And I thought to myself, who does that? What kind of does that?
Yes. April, you hear what he's saying? He said, "That's my word."
I have a lot of history with it, Michael. I have a lot of history. And because he did some things that I just like, I was like, okay, well, does that kind of shit. Not a man. A man will come up to you and go, let's brawl, bro. Let's do it. Let's go. But won't do that. So anyway, so I'm at Baltimore, Maryland, and he's done all these things to me. And I'm walking with a couple of friends of mine and to the lobby. Did I not tell you this, Michael?
Not yet.
I get that. No, I guess I did. Yeah. It's a great story, Michael. You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this shit, bro. You're gonna love this.
Yeah,
you're gonna love this. So I'm walking through the lobby because I had to do some MC shit, and host some fucking costume shit, whatever it is, right? And I used to smoke back then, and I wanted to have a cigarette, right? So I'm walking through the lobby, and I see this piece of shit peacocking in front of this couple. He's peacocking. You know what I mean, right?
No, that's
he's peacocking. He's peacocking. What the fuck? He's like, I'm me. I'm this guy. I'm this man. Whatever. Whatever. He's peacocking, right? So I stop.
Okay, he was tall.
Friends, I said to him, Mike, I'm telling you, this is a true story. You know me, I'm a right?
those are the honest ones that are the mother. So let's hear it, bro.
So I stopped in the middle of the lobby watching him peacocking in front of this couple. Because this couple's like, oh, God, you're Sean. No. Look at the top. Look at the guys at the top.
Whoops. Oh, he just cemented his name in the ground.
I was trying my best not to interrupt it. So he was like, oh, he's trying his best. Okay.
Jesus.
Now, I'm going to have to find that video, obviously, to put the link in the there's going to be so many damn links in the description box. Because I want Sean. Sean deserves to explain exactly, because he does. If you've been following enough of the whole history with Tony and Sean, Tony has been saying all kinds of terrible stuff about Sean for so many years, many years. And people have known, and this is another reason why I'm showing all this, is to show Tony's two faces and how he has a terrible way of not telling everybody the truth. In other words, he shares other people's experiences as if they're his own. Well, this guy that is obviously in love with Tony, I guess he was Tony officiated their wedding. And from what I understand, it was Tony charged like $5,000. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's a fact or not. And I think, like I said, if I find and put that link in the description box, it's quite obvious that Sean was probably trying to warn this guy. Are you want him? You're going to more or less. I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but what I gather, what I'm assuming, this is speculations now, that maybe Clark understood how much it was going to cost this guy to have Tony officiate, and Sean May was probably trying to do him a huge favor. Like I said, these are speculations. These are just things that I'm gathering that maybe that's what went down.
I've never seen Sean really do much besides hang out with Chris Nelson, man. I mean, he's always just hanging out at all the conventions and everything. Just
by the way, yeah,
partner back there.
Sean does describe this situation at hand that Tony's saying about a couple. Apparently, according to Sean, he was actually with Nick Castle at the time. And I guess they were waiting for somebody. They were going to have lunch or something like that. So
I've never seen him peacocking anywhere. He's always just sitting down, or he's.
Yeah. Like I said, Sean does a really good job of sharing his side of the story, his side of the coin.
Sure.
And it just. But I love it. I had to put in the oops and everything else. I got to watch that little part again. It's just too funny. Don't say any names. 4 minutes later, this.
Yeah, he chugged that last one and he lost it.
Look at the top. Look at the guys at the top.
And the guys at the top that looked at their faces like, you idiot.
But this.
Are you chopping up lines of coke?
No.
Okay.
I wish it was. No, I wish it was. I wish it was.
I'm just saying.
No, I wish it was. No. See, for me, Michael, I would never if somebody's doing like your podcast. I would never try to sabotage it, I'd be like,
really? He's doing a pretty good job.
If you and I had a disagreement or something, right? I would never be a.
What's the opposite of sabotage in my podcast would be probably, I don't know, let me think. Getting Fancy Nancy to show her tater tots on the fucking podcast.
Michael, you have to admit.
I could have sworn at the top corner there, that guy said something about going live. Let me go back here a little bit.
Michael, you have to admit, and you other two.
I'm not both he knows their name.
You have to admit,
He can't even
those are
read.
great fucking tits.
Everybody?
Gotta admit that, Uncle Bill.
Fancy Nancy.
You saw him.
Absolutely. I don't even want to talk about that.
Michael, I love the fuck out of you, and I'm going to tell you, I'm not a tit guy.
Neither am I. I'm an ass.
You're an ass guy.
Round that
Yes,
out.
man.
Well,
If anything important, we found that out.
I'm like going, Jesus Christ, when I met her, I'm like, baby, you got great tits and you great ass. And great ass. Great ass.
Total Pacino there.
But yeah, like Al Pacino said in Sin of a Woman. Great ass. Great ass.
By the way, that Pacino was pretty spot on. Give that guy credit for that.
Fancy Nancy's there with you. That's so cool. Fancy Nancy.
No, I'm in love with her, bro.
Well, here's the question.
And I haven't been in love since high school.
Yep.
Any chance you guys can find a nut?
Can you show Fancy Nancy?
Yes,
I'm
in
love with her again.
Okay.
It's about over with.
But she's got her top on this time, so we're good.
This is Fancy Nancy right here.
Are you sure?
Nancy! How cool is that?
Show your tits. Show your tits.
No, don't get us thrown off.
No, show your
No, I
tits.
don't want to get thrown up. No, I can't. Don't get thrown up.
So
I love her. But objectifying everything about her, I'll be damned.
the clips, yeah, there was a guy, I can't remember his name, a YouTuber, a very successful YouTuber. I cannot for the life of me think of his name. He got in trouble because apparently a location that he went to, there was a body on the ground, a human body, a dead body, and he video recorded and showed it on YouTube. He wasn't responsible for the person's passing,
right?
But he got in trouble for it.
Mm-hmm.
And this was years before YouTube got a little bit more strict about, things that they're strict about now. Now, yeah, these are four guys. They're hanging out. They're drinking. I get it. Been there, done that. Some things get out of hand. I get that. And I'm not like, oh my God, it's shame on them for having the video removed. But it sucks that on one hand, you'd like to see more, but sometimes as sometimes I'm saying, as I have watched this enough, and I got to go back and edit out a lot of the language.
Yeah.
I understand why YouTube. I mean, I will get a strike if I actually show, sadly enough, certain images like poster images. Yeah, they're behind us. That's fine. But if I take a frame or a PNG, an image of a certain movie, I'm not going to say it because, in other words, we're talking about the franchise itself. But if I were to share that image, an image of that movie, because it's copyright, sure enough, YouTube, because of the company itself, they'll strike it against me just because of a poster image. I've dealt with it through 2 times, and it's not that big of a deal. They'll keep the video up, but in certain countries, they won't show it, just like with audio. Certain audios you could use, but if you don't have permission, certain countries, they won't play it. Usually it's China. These guys, they had too much fun that night, said some things that they shouldn't have shared publicly. And this, and of course, Tony Moran's girlfriend showing her breasts. But when they also talked about violence and then the drugs. Now, that was just a sample, the whole camera where, his camera was laying down. That was just a joke there. But they had gone on more and more and more about, So it's like, guys, I guess at this point, this is an educational part of it. You really got to watch what you say or do when it comes to doing YouTube videos, especially you think you can load up on Patreon? Well, Patreon, like I said, the guys talked about earlier in the video or even on their YouTube channel that it's available, but no, it's gone. And
I guess they tried, right? They tried to capitalize on it.
So from what I understand, Chris, from what you witnessed there, that was pretty much the gist of it. Because after a while, you get 2.5 hours and Tony, where he's just talking off the camera. Maybe he's talking to his girlfriend. You can't really understand. And then, of course, you got this other guy down there who's, yeah. I guess what I'm trying to get at is,
once, fool me twice, fool me 3 times. It's like how many lives this guy got?
For anybody that's just getting into this hobby, let's say Halloween franchise alone, and you go to some of these conventions for your first time, do your due diligence on Tony Moran. Don't just take my word for it, this video here or just do, like I said, do your due diligence. The reason why I'm saying that is it's going to cost more and more money, as we all know. I don't need to tell Chris. He knows better than I do because he's got more mouths to feed than I do. And I can't imagine what your grocery store bill looks like today.
Oh, you don't want to know.
Yeah.
5 tables right beside that.
And they're upstairs reminding you they want to eat.
Yes.
So you're going to go to a convention. Let's say you're new to this. You're hearing a little bit about certain individuals. I guess that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help educate people out there about Tony Moran. I'm sorry that he's like this. I wish he wasn't like this. But he has been known throughout history to be really the bad boy of the Halloween franchise. He's got a very terrible reputation. Yes, he does have his fans. And like I said, there was a reason why I showed the Danielle Harris and all that from a couple. I wanted people to see the 2 sides of him. Just you see what he was like with Tyler Main, how he was saying, because Tyler Main apparently hurt his feelings about the diaper thing. Tony Moran acted like a 13-year-old punk. Then, of course, when he gets Danielle Harris, he acts like he's sitting down with Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
And now he gets with his buddies and with his drinking and everything else.
I mean, let's be honest. He's not an idiot. He saw that opportunity of Danielle reaching out, and he took it to show a whole different side of himself to try to clear his name on it. And I think it worked, but he's going right back to the same shit.
You're absolutely right. I'm glad you brought that up because thank you for sharing that, because that's what I've been fearing after watching all this. The odds of him hearing this, but I've already thought about this, and if he wants to come on here and talk to me, and Chris, if you want to be a part of it, that's your choice. I'm not putting you in the middle of this, But I'm telling you, if Tony Moran actually wanted to talk to me about these subject matters, heck yeah. I'm not going to treat him. I'm not going to kiss his butt. Let's just put it that way. But I'm going to ask him to treat me with respect and my audience as well. And if he behaves like I've seen him in the past, that's it. It's over with.
Yeah,
I seriously doubt this is ever going to happen. First of all, I'm not going to pay him 2 cents to come on here.
Right.
But if he actually wants to, he's more welcome to. I know it's not going to happen, though. But boy, wouldn't that be interesting?
I don't know if that gets some traction. I mean, that's going to be pretty damaging. I mean, that's not a good look.
Well,
it's all the same stuff over again.
And if he has a daughter that's actually gay and he still behaves like this, his daughter has to be embarrassed. I mean, that's why I find that to be a bunch of BS right there. I know of guys of my age back when I was, let's say, even 30 years younger, would say certain things about the certain communities and that would be offensive. And then they end up having either kids or grandchildren, that are, gay, and their whole attitude about that now is like, nope, Yeah. They won't even touch that subject. They'll either say, like, well, my granddaughter or my son is, gay or something like that. But they say it with pride. And what Danielle Harris said about the LGB, I always mess it up. And I got to be careful because I don't want to offend anybody. But it is true. They are huge fans of this industry. And that's another reason why I think Tony really needs to watch what he's saying.
Rightfully so. I mean, they have every right to love it just as much as we do.
And that's one thing I always thought was kind of cool because they're nerds just like we are when it comes to that subject matter.
More the merrier,
Yeah. So
I love the community. But you are right about that. Like having children, I mean, it opens your eyes to so many things in the world that you used to not look at. Like you didn't look at it and think about it the same way.
Yeah.
You have children. I mean, I don't want my kids to ever be afraid to tell me something that they feel deep down in their soul. Like they should be able to come to me with whatever they feel.
Yeah. I mean,
and I don't want them to ever think that I would ever disrespect them like that.
I mean, everybody has, as we all know, like I have REM pop into my head right now. Everybody hurts. I don't want to put myself on that, but I would want the same thing too. I want them to be able to come to me because I know what it's like as someone who met my biological father. I hate to use the word father, biological, because I met him one time when I was 14 years old. And he asked to be a part of my life when I was 14. This is 1984, people. And I have not seen him since then. Now, has that damaged me? I'd like to think that it hasn't. Maybe there are some things that I need to talk about. I'm not going to do it here, but it goes to the same thing. If I had a kid that was going through something like that, and if I behaved like Tony Moran, not only would I be hurt that my dad acted like that out in public, but I knew that I could never talk to him about anything. And if my child came to me and said that, that he or she was gay or whatever it is, I'm just being respectful. I know there's more of a transgender that's brought up this more day and age, I would do everything in my power to listen to my child, keep my mouth shut, or ask questions when it was the right time to ask. And because I already know from a fact when I was a teenager, my oldest friend, after we were done with high school, he told me that he was gay. And he told me just the basics, allowed me to ask questions. And just because of that night back in 1988, just because we talked about it, we got over the hump, and he was still my friend. I didn't give a rat's butt about what he did. Just because we talked and listened, he gave me a chance to listen or ask questions.
That takes more courage than probably anything Tony Moran's ever done.
Yeah.
You got to think those people, they're afraid of losing everybody they love when they do stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say that it's easier today. It seems like it the way it's and I hate to say it, but the movies that we watch, I mean, hell, like I've talked to you privately before, Chris, about a show on HBO Plus, Shrinking. The main character, his best friend is gay. And it kind of reminded me, thinking of my old friend, how here we are, two guys that known each other for so many years. And eventually the one guy had to come out and tell his best friend that he's gay. And they don't get in the details, but it's quite obvious that, he accepts him for who he is. Yeah. And, but yeah, I mean, I don't mean to go down that road, but it's just the fact that, I
mean, when you sit back and look at it, nothing changed.
No.
Still.
The only thing is, that's why, once again, if Tony Moran came on here and wanted to talk, I hope that he's listening to what we're talking about here. And if it does hurt him, he's got to really, come on, man. You got to start acting, be more respectful for your daughter first. To hell with these conventions, to hell with them. Build your relationship with your daughter and others, and then maybe reach out to the people that you've hurt, talk to them privately. And if they choose to accept you, and if you can move forward as an adult and write your own passageway with respect, then even I will welcome you into this community. But as of right now, the way you are, no, mister. I don't respect you at all whatsoever.
I mean, imagine if people that are going through that type of thing and they're trying to get up the courage to be honest with themselves and stuff like that, and they watch his videos and listen to what he says and how he's in love with that woman and what he was doing on camera to her. I mean, objectifying and just all the stuff he was doing. I mean, imagine how much he damages those people to the point where they don't want to do it anymore.
That's stuff that you do behind closed doors.
Ugh.
You know what I mean? You don't put that stuff on your phone. Like, look at me. I'm Tony Moran. Look at my girlfriend's, look at her breasts. Well, that relationship's going to go far. Chris, I'm glad you came on here. I know that I contacted you about this, and I know I guess I just wanted to get this off my chest and warn others that he's still up to his old BS. And like I said, I'll do everything in my power to put those links in the description box, and then people can watch, do your due diligence on this guy. And if I'm wrong, oh well, I'm wrong. But I'm telling you,
tread carefully.
Yeah. Yeah. And in other words, if it's going to cost you $100 to get an autograph from him,
then you got to think, what about the online orders? Hell, he might do those. He might send those out.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way to blacklist them, but who knows?
It's weird. I just had this wait a minute, what? When you leaned back, I was like, my son got me that hoodie for Christmas. So I'm like,
it's a good one.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess all that I have to say about Mr. T-Man. Be careful. Watch what you get into. And yeah, I'll say it one more time. If he wants to come on here, I'll talk to him and I'll listen to him, but be respectful. Because if you start showing any signs, or if, like, say, if Chris is on here or anybody else, if he's disrespectful towards them, then that video will not exist. I will not air it. And it won't break my heart. So be prepared, Chris, if that day happens.
I ain't afraid of no.
In other words, I'm asking you, do you want to be a part of this? I could just see it now, like, yeah, you sit back there going.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to figure out a way to put this in the beginning of the video. That way, yeah, I've got to figure out a way to keep people interested in this video right now, because it is long. And, you know, stick around towards the end, that sort of thing. Maybe I'll add a little clip. Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. You know, in the beginning, I'll have a little intro. Yeah,
gotcha.
I'll do that. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording, and then I'm going to ask you a couple other things privately. Yep. And then, because obviously you got to get it. Thankfully, it's not super late right now, but I just want to make sure that it's not super late for obvious reasons. So. All righty, Chris. Well, thanks for joining me on this amazing Tony Moran video. Hopefully we'll get a chance to speak with him. And maybe we'll plan on doing some more of these type of videos, and we can get a few other people involved. At least, if anything, I owe Baber to get on here with us sometime in the future. Andrew, he's been so busy with his girls with tennis and all that and selling homes.
Well, the old Tony Moran came back to us.
Yeah. He can join us. Boy, wasn't that, yeah.